hours of the regular show on terrestrial radio, and you wanted a little bit more, so that's why you found the Gun Talk After Show podcast, where we saved all the best things that we can't say on regular radio. Now here's Tom, Michelle, and Jim for the Gun Talk After Show.
After show time, where we're going to be chatting about this and that, and mostly about the other thing. We have Jim Kinsey and Michelle Cleland. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Coach.
Hello.
Coach.
What's
Coach
happening? Coach Tom, that's right. You know, just play harder, be better. Mm-hmm. Unlike my LSU Tigers who got whooped up on by the evil empire.
They did.
Yes.
But my Sparties won.
Alabama's they're that good. They just really are.
They are.
So there you go.
Now, hopefully next Saturday, Spartans can Spartans don't have a chance of anything happening. A bowl game, maybe, but at least they can ruin it again for the Buckeyes.
Okay. You know, I think college football is more about having someone to hate than someone to root for. So, there you go.
Speaking of, we've got a caller on the line. Let's head that way, Tom.
Actually, I did want to say that just for people, they may want to stay tuned because I want to tell you about me getting shot at this week. It was kind of exciting.
Yeah, okay.
So, not once, not twice, but 3 times.
3 times a lady?
Okay. Yeah, really. 3 times you're bleeding out. There you go. Yeah. So, hey, let's talk with Tim in Carson City. He's on 2 over there. Hey, Tim, you made it into the after show. What's cooking?
Hey, I'm so glad. Thank you. Thanks a million. Hey,
sure.
You know what? I have to confess. I was a cheapskate, and I cut down on my cable channels, and I couldn't take it anymore. So then I started watching. I signed up for the premium packages and got Outdoor Channel, and I'm not lying. Yesterday, 10 minutes into one of the shows, I think it was Gunny, the new version of the Gunny Time. They were reviewing the Glock 19X. I was like, I've got to get that weapon. I start calling around. It was coming up on 4 o'clock. Just after 4 o'clock, and I find nobody had them in town, and then I found a guy who had a Glock 45, model 45 in 9mm, and he said, I've got this here, and at 5:10 p.m., I had it in my hands. Cool. And this was, now, you know, I did look at some reviews, you know, on YouTube, and everyone seemed to like it. They seemed to like it better than the 19X, and so my question is, not to bore everybody, is since it's a crossover between with the 17 frame and the 19 slide, I've been looking around and I don't see any holsters yet really specified for that model, and I'm wondering, I haven't really checked with my other Glock holsters yet, what would really fit properly for that.
Well, I think you're probably going to have to just check with the holster makers. But my guess, the other thing to do is just honestly take the gun into the gun store and see which ones fit. But probably a holster for a 19, since it's a 19 slide, is probably going to fit. Don't you think, Michelle?
Yeah, and I was doing a little bit of backside research because we have to worry about the same thing, you know, having the product available for these new guns. And most of the time, the holsters are available as the guns hit as well. So doing some research, you can go online, you can type in, you know, Safariland or DeSantis or Galco, and you can shop by model. And so there are holsters out there that are available that you can kind of, you know, look at the different styles and types of carry that you want to do, and then go from there with your holster.
I was going to say, sometimes, I'm just trying to get on the Glock website, sometimes these gun makers will actually sell holsters directly off of their website, which can be really handy when a new gun first comes out, if they're just not available anywhere yet. So that might be something to look into.
True, yeah.
That's a great idea, because, I did just look at Safariland and also Blade Tech. I'm a big fan of Blade Tech, and I didn't see any models yet available. So I'll just make do for now, and that's a great idea of checking with Glock themselves. So.
But honestly, I'll bet you that for the most part, a holster that takes the 19 will work just fine for that.
I got to believe it's going to be close. If it's not perfect yet.
Perfect. That's hey,
perfect. Tim, I got a request for you, okay?
Yes, sir.
After you've had a chance to go out and shoot that gun for a couple of weeks, call the regular radio show back and give us a range report on it, okay?
I shall. It'll be very interesting to compare it with my 19.
Yeah.
And I've switched down from my 45s down to the 19 or down to the 9mm rather, and I really enjoy that a lot. And so having to shoot more, and it's less expensive.
There you go. All right. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate that. All right, guys. I mentioned I got shot at about a week ago. It was interesting, I guess. Well, they weren't actually shooting at me. And the fault lies with me as much as with them, okay? I went to a public shooting range where there's no range master.
Oh,
I got there, there were some guys.
Huh?
Well, it's typical. A lot of shooting ranges. There's no range master.
Right.
You just got, targets downrange. You got benches, and you all coordinate, and you go down and change your targets, and you come back. And I got there, and there were some guys about 4 benches away from me, and they're shooting at a target at 25 yards. And so I'm going to just check the sighting in on a rifle and changing ammo. And so I got the rifle out, I put it on the rest, and I'm getting my spotting scope up. I'm just figuring that when they stop shooting, I'll go down, and then I look up, and they're already halfway down at the targets. So I grab my targets and hustle on down, and they're at the 25-yard line, and I go all the way down to the 100. And I put my targets up, and I turn around and start walking back, and these guys start shooting.
Oh, man.
I'm down 80 yards down range, and they're shooting their targets, maybe 20 yards to the side of me.
Too close.
And, I could see their bullets, handgun bullets, hitting the dirt and kicking up dirt between me and them.
Whoa.
And I used language that I don't usually use, but I felt I had to get their attention, which I did.
It was all the same shooting distance, right? They could see you downrange?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
If they had looked.
Oh.
Now, having given it a lot of thought since then, because, it was like 3 or 4 shots fired before I'm hollering, hey, 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 I assumed, and you know what happens when you do that, I assumed that they saw me walking past them going downrange. They evidently were just looking at their targets when they're setting their targets up or looking at their hits or pacing targets, whatever, never saw me go downrange. And went back and then didn't look downrange, and they just started shooting. The fault is mine in that I didn't walk over to them and say, hey, guys, I'm going to be going downrange here, just making sure you guys know I'm down here, or something along those lines. And that's on me. And, yeah, they should have seen me and, all the rest of it. But I carry at least half the fault in this one. But it was interesting.
Well, obviously they didn't miss their target terribly.
No,
we wouldn't have this conversation.
That's true. That's kind of interesting here now that we're talking about that. Let's say you're in a 10-lane range. My school of thought is if there's anybody downrange, nobody shoots on any lane is common sense to me.
That would be true.
Right.
That would always be true. Correct.
Okay. So regardless how many lanes, it's an unsafe condition, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. So I guess I want to hear the language you used.
Jim.
I dropped the F-bomb.
Okay.
And instead of walking back to my bench, I walked directly toward their bench so we could have a serious nose-to-nose conversation about the whole thing.
And that F wasn't firearms, I'm guessing.
It was not firearms or fire truck, although it sounded somewhat like that when you said it fast.
Oh, my God.
At least you can laugh now, but that's not a funny situation at all.
And look, the guy came out and he apologized profusely. He didn't see me, and he realized. And so, it was all one of those. And remember, this is an outdoor range, They just were looking at their target, and they didn't see me kind of to the side over there downrange.
Right, you can't assume. Right.
Can't assume. And I assumed, and I, for whatever reason, didn't do the thing I know to do. So, I just offer the story up as a reminder to everybody to never assume. And if you're at one of these public ranges, make sure that everybody knows not just that you're going downrange, but carry it a step further, because it could be, you would hope it's not the case, but it could be they don't know that they're not supposed to shoot if you're downrange, because they're shooting in their target and you're over there 20 yards to the side on your target. And it sounds incredible, but there could be people like that. So you want to make sure you say, hey guys, we're all going to go downrange. And while we're downrange and the range is cold, no one touches their guns. Okay. No one touches their guns on their benches or anything else. Just say it. Because you don't want anybody handling any guns or having, touching gun, literally not touching a gun while anybody's downrange. And then you all come back and you go, okay, everybody clear? All right, the range is hot again. And you call it hot. Didn't do that. So there you go.
Did you have that realization on your way back to speak with them, or afterwards running it through in your mind?
Afterwards.
Yeah.
No, I was just both
at that time.
Scared and livid.
Oh, yeah.
Mad. And, of course, they didn't know. They had no way, because I had my rifle there. They had no way of knowing that had it gotten to that point, I could have shot back because I was definitely carrying my .357.
Oh, well,
so
I'm glad
you don't
you
want to
didn't.
go there. No, of course not.
But, with the season that we're in, being hunting season, I've had
Correct.
a very similar event happen to me, while we were out hunting. And unfortunately, it was one of those deals where you get put into a lottery and you get pulled out and you go out on public land and you're given a very specific area or zone or however they have it mapped out. And, after 12 o'clock, apparently you could move wherever you wanted to be. But, people don't quite pay attention to hunter's orange being out there, which is something in Ohio we have to wear.
Something moved, shoot it.
Well, yeah, and that was the thing. They had no idea what was going on behind the target that they were trying to shoot, which was a running deer. And I vowed then and there, my husband was with me, like, never again, not hunting on public land again.
Yep.
Because people just
a lot
do
of people
not.
won't because of that.
Yeah, they just don't pay attention. They get excited and caught up in the moment. Like, hello, one, you aren't where you're supposed to be. And two, you have no idea what's after or behind that deer running, which is where we were.
And they get tunnel vision on a deer, and it's so exciting. And it's what they were all about, and stuff happens. And so blaze orange is a huge deal on hunting public land. It's just, even if it's not required, it's such a good idea.
Sure.
So it's like, helmet laws on motorcycles. Some states it's not required, but it's
why
a
risk
really
it?
good idea.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really good idea. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that was fun. Hey, let's take a quick break because I know Jim and Michelle have some stories to tell, and I'll also tell you about my rattlesnake encounter.
Ooh.
Brownells has gone retro. Check out Brownells' new line of retro AR-15 and AR-style 308 rifles at brownells.com/retro. Whether you're looking for Eugene Stoner's original 308 design, the famous M16A1, Air Force 601, or the XM177 carbine, Brownells has the classic, new production, old-school rifle of your dreams. Own the firearm you used in basic training, carried in service, or that Grandpa always talks about. See more at brownells.com/retro.
Tired of searching the web for the best deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gun Dealio app today for deals and discounts right at your fingertips. Handguns, rifles, shotguns, ammo, optics, lasers, gun safes, targets, gun cleaners, grips, slings, and much, much more. Save money on products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gun Dealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
Okay, so I had a little rattlesnake encounter when I was out hunting deer. It was warm, and the short version is I'm walking down this trail, and I hear this zzz. I'm thinking, bees? A lot of bees down here?
Drone, maybe?
Drone, And I look up at about, 15 feet in front of me, in the middle of this foot-wide trail, there's this really PO'd rattlesnake, head about a foot off the ground, coiled up, buzzing, and looking right at me. Mm. And on my left side, I have a 300-foot drop-off down to the water, so I can't go around him there. And on the right side, I got a rock wall. I can't go around him there. I'm thinking, I really don't want to kill this snake. Just as soon not fire a shot. I'm out here where I'm deer hunting. I just want him to leave. If you just go off the trail, I'd go on by.
Send him an email or a text or something.
Gosh.
God,
well, I did close to the same thing. I sent him an E-Rock. And then he did something I've never seen before. And I'm just lobbing some rocks. I'm not like trying to hurt him, just throwing them kind of in his area or bounce them off of him so he could, He's striking at the rocks in the air.
Whoa.
He was very angry.
He was really, I think maybe he had been in hibernation, and then we had a warm day and the sun shining on his big rock area there, and he came out looking for, who woke me up. And he's biting at rocks in the air. God. So eventually I threw a big enough rock where I pinned him down, and he was 4 feet long and had 11 rattles. So Just one of those deals. You know, it's funny. All the times we're out in the woods, we don't really see poisonous snakes very often, and yet there it is.
Did he enjoy the 300-foot trip to the water, or?
The headless version, or tailless and headless version of him, yeah, possibly.
But you got a new pair of shoes.
So let's see. In just a stretch of a few days, let's see. I'm having bullets bouncing off the ground and whizzing by me, and having to deal with a PO'd rattlesnake here. So I think I'm probably good for a little while.
You're feeling like the world's against you.
And the only other option is to fly out into what is it? Cirro granite, cumulus granite.
Cumulo granite.
Cumulo granite. Yeah.
I had to fly out of there in some nasty weather.
So the important thing that we really need to cover is: did you vote early?
I voted for the No Snake Party. Let me tell you. Not that they're not. Some of them are snakes for sure.
Yeah, at least about 4 guys you can vote for, right?
So if you need me, I will be hiding under the covers for a while.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I've had enough incoming for the time being. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Michelle, I was going to ask you, it is that time of year, are you getting the hunters coming into the store?
Oh, yeah. Archery season's been going for a little while, and now that it's getting cold and animals are moving more, and obviously our crops are coming down, although there's still a lot of standing crops in our area. Yeah, people are getting more and more excited, and the cooler weather that's moved in on us is helping that mood a little bit. But it's always a fun time. You know, the 450 Bushmaster is so strong in this area for caliber now that...
Oh, because you've got that regulation there, right?
Yeah, we can shoot straight wall, jacketed ammo, and that makes a big difference.
You can't shoot like real ammo, or real cartridges in
No,
Ohio.
we're not allowed rifles of any other type.
No 270s, no .6s,
no 260s, nothing fun like that.
But you can use a 327
all that
now.
stuff we talk about. What?
You can use a 327 now in lever.
Well, you could.
If you like
but
that
a 450
caliber.
Bushmaster knocks them on their rear. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's fun. And with that, I guess we're finding some of that resurgence, you know, of some of these, I'm going to say, air quote, old calibers coming back and being fun for people. So, you know, your
4570.
Yep, 444s. And, you know, let's say it's just kind of neat seeing the, I don't know, resurgence maybe, or identification of some of these calibers.
The silliness of it is the no rifle cartridges for deer hunting, so you can't use a 270 or not 6, but you can use a 444 Marlin with the Hornady Lever Evolution ammo, which is a 300-yard plus cartridge.
Right.
But supposedly that's supposed to be a short-range deal, right?
Right. Yeah. I don't get it. But
Regs written by people who don't know anything about ballistics.
Explain to me why the 30-06 doesn't qualify, Michelle.
Because it's not a straight wall cartridge.
Because it's
a neck down cartridge,
Wow.
essentially. So, yeah, it's, you know, supposedly it's a longer range, like Tom just alluded to, and that's not allowed in Ohio. But you can travel to Michigan, and that's...
Can you shoot from Ohio into Michigan?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay. Just checking.
And I wouldn't recommend standing into Michigan and shooting into Ohio with it either.
Okay.
Probably not from Toledo. I don't know if you can reach Michigan from there.
Oh, yeah. Toledo used to be part of Michigan.
Really?
Yeah, in 1830-something or other, they had a thing, and they said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll give you Toledo. We're taking the UP. It's like the best thing Michigan ever did.
Have to?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, Ohio says, do we really have to take Toledo?
Yeah, really? Come on, guys. A joke's a joke. We're only messing with you.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, it's interesting. And, you know, along with that, the 357 lever action rifles. You know,
that's true.
And Henry's got their new single shot 357. So for any of the youngsters that are out there want to get out and go hunting, that's an excellent gun. It might be a little pricey for some people, but yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
well, of course, you can
fun.
always shoot the 38 specials in that, which is like the no recoil kind of fun way to plink with it, and then
now on something like that, Tom. If you're shooting 38 specials and 357, you still want to sight with the ammo you're going to be using, right?
You just shoot somewhere around it; it'll be fine. It's not a problem.
Hey, there's something moving. Just shoot in that direction.
Yeah.
Well,
yes. Yeah, it definitely shoots to a different point of impact, and
Right.
you want to check to see where it's shooting.
and you need to check your state regulations because there is actually caliber-specific starting places. Like it has to be, a certain barrel length and a certain caliber, and so,
Correct.
38s might not be allowed in a 357.
Well, yeah, and I was thinking of 38 for practice,
Right.
and then you go out hunting with a 357 kind
Right.
of a thing.
But, there's lots of ammunition choices, and I think that's the other side of this, too, that we need to, look at for hunters is don't get caught up in one brand and one style because it might not shoot that great in your gun. It might shoot great in
That's a
your
great
buddies
point.
who's got the same gun, but
Right.
not for you.
I mean, they could be one serial number apart, and they like different ammo.
Right. So invest a little bit, take some time, get it sighted in,
Which means you can't buy it the day before opening day.
please.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not from a selling standpoint. That's just from an ethical kill standpoint, right? You want to know that it's going to perform
Yeah.
the way it's supposed
Yeah,
to.
interesting. When you mentioned trying different ammo, I was kind of thinking of a different thing. I was thinking about all of the different brands of ammo. I mean, there was a time when you basically had Remington, Winchester, and Federal.
Right.
That's what you had, right? Mm-hmm. And, I don't know that we could even count the different brands and then different lines of ammo. It's like you say, okay, I'm going to use Hornady ammo. Okay, great. Which bullet, which line are you talking about?
Right.
Same with Remington. And, Barnes bullets and Black Hills ammo and, a SIG ammo. And companies that never even made ammo are making high-quality ammo now. Mm-hmm. It's kind of nuts, all the choices we have.
Well, and some of them have fused together, right? They might
true.
they're loading a different company's bullet into yeah. So it's amazing.
Exactly. You got Nosler makes its own ammo, but then you have a number of other companies that load Nosler bullets.
Right. Same with
in their ammo.
Barnes.
Same with Barnes. Yeah. Which makes it kind of fun. You can buy Berger ammo, but then you can buy Berger bullets in other ammo. It makes it challenging on the one hand to figure out what works, but the other is it makes it fun too because you get to go shoot and try a lot of different stuff.
It's true. Very true. And please, we encourage you to do so. I mean, spend that time and yeah, it's not cheap, and it's not like you have to spend a whole box of 50 rounds to figure out what you're going to shoot and what works best, but change up your targets, keep the same distance, keep the same shooting style. Obviously the best way is to bench rest these guns and figure it out. So it's everything's on
But logistically, that's kind of hard to go out in the field and you're deer hunting. You have to bring the bench with you, the sandbags, the whole thing. I mean, they hear all that
It's
stuff.
taking like 6 different types of ammo to try out when you're hunting.
You don't think the deer see that stuff? They're not stupid.
Or perhaps, I don't know, Michelle, perhaps we've misunderstood.
Maybe.
Maybe. Again.
You're going to practice. You should practice, right?
Boys, we have to teach them everything.
To relearn.
You never listen.
What?
Oh, wait, I've never heard a woman say that before.
Finally, we got your attention. Oh, my.
Yes, dear.
Right? That's all you have to say. What was I thinking? I'm so sorry.
You guys want to finish this argument after this break here?
We're going to take a break, and then we're just not going to come back. How's that?
Hey, we'll be right back in 7 days.
Net.
7 days. I like that.
Founded with the singular purpose of building fine sporting firearms, Kimber creates a handgun for every person and a rifle for every adventure. While embracing modern manufacturing techniques, every Kimber depends on practiced hands for assembly, fit, and finish. There's no compromise in features, materials, or performance. Synonymous with quality, precision, and excellence, and made in America. Kimber is what all guns should be. Visit KimberAmerica.com. That's KimberAmerica.com.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Battle Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
So, Jim, you may have noticed that we haven't asked you any questions. It's only because we don't really care what you have to say.
Well, right. It's for the sake of the show. I mean, I want the show to be good, and if it means I'm not part of it, that helps.
It's all about ratings.
Have you been working on him, Michelle? This is very good.
He had a week off. He was in counseling.
Funny thing is that we had a week off, and what did I do? Spent my time listening to the rebroadcast in my car.
Oh, of course. That's right. You didn't give yourself. And for those who wonder, yes, we had a week off last week, recorded show, because I was in the mountains hunting. And I get to do that once or twice a year. So it's going to be okay.
You know,
I give myself permission.
There's technology. You could have taken us out with you.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to do the show on a sat phone.
Listen, all you have to do is
trust me.
quiet.
There's an elk. He's about 300 yards out on your left.
Okay.
We'll be right back after this break. And
Now I'm going to describe how we're cutting up this deer, which unbeknownst to you, is as soon as we get off the air here, I cut and wrapped half my deer yesterday, and I will be cutting and wrapping the other half, butchering it, and it will all be in the freezer by this evening.
Yum.
Yum, yum.
road trip.
Like me some venison. Man, you know what's really good is hamburger made of venison and then use it in spaghetti or chili.
Yep.
Either one.
I was going to say, it's my favorite spaghetti is venison spaghetti.
Yeah. Awesome stuff.
You know, I think your hunting process is extremely organic, Tom.
It is organic. Well, it's like my friend Ray said. He says, he just buys meat in the store. That way nothing has to die.
Amazing it grows in the plastic and styrofoam tray.
How about that, huh?
Like a petri dish.
We had a guy at a camp next to us there. We were out in public land, and he had actually brought in a pressure cooker, old-fashioned pressure cooker, put it on top of a Coleman stove, and he brought back ribs from a deer and threw them in there, and pressure cooked them for 15 minutes, and then threw them on the grill. It was fabulous.
Wow.
Just tender as they can be. It got me to thinking. I know that what do they call it? Instapot now is the big deal.
Yeah.
Electronic.
They're cool.
All it is a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
Right.
It's old-fashioned pressure cookers.
Yeah.
Man, that'd be a really cool thing to have out in camp.
Yeah, you're really roughing
You
it.
have to get the...
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think so, yeah.
Pressure cooker, that's great.
Sure, bring in everything. Now, for those who don't know, you know what I could do? I should tell people, if you want to see what we're talking about, we did a video on this last year, and it's on our YouTube channel. Or just go to YouTube and search for Idaho Passions, and you can see kind of where we hunt and a little bit about the terrain. And when you see how big the country is, you'll understand why I'm so big on rangefinders, because you can't tell. I mean, you can easily say it's 300 and it's 600 yards or 700. It's crazy how big the country is.
And it's amazing how much the terrain makes a difference on what you think is the distance, your perceived distance, right?
Especially when you're not in that terrain all the time. It's new to you. You really can't judge distances that well.
Right. Yeah, I think
You could always drive to the deer and check the odometer, I guess. I don't know. Just a thought.
Do you take away the drop of the ravine and the incline coming back up?
That's the deal, isn't it? Because it's straight across the valley or the gully or whatever it is.
Right.
And there's you can even do let's see, that tree is 100 and that's 100, that's 100, but it's down and back up, and now you just pull the rangefinder out, zap. Oh! Did you see, Michelle, the SIG? They've got electro-optics now. Mm-hmm. They have a rangefinder that talks to your scope.
Yep.
Man, you zap the deal once, and all of a sudden, your scope has a little lighted dot on the vertical reticle, and you just hold it on, and it's already adjusted for the distance.
It's amazing, yeah. The
That's
technology.
So slick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you're right on with, if you want to know what to get the hunter in your life, if they don't already have one, man, a rangefinder. And it's not always one of those things that you have time to put on the animal when they're right there in front of you, because sometimes they just come out of nowhere and you have to make a split decision.
And you don't need to. If they're inside of 300 yards, you don't need to.
Right. But you can get out there, get situated, and range find a couple of trees or rocks
point.
whatever is out there at the time, and just kind of get a reference point and know about where you are. So even if you're not actively using it when the animal's there, you have an indication based on what you already found.
It's a great point. If you could sit on a hilltop and you could range several things around. You say, okay, this is roughly the circle around me that is the 300-yard range or the 400-yard range or whatever it is, and already have that in your mind. Especially if it's inside of 300. If you're using a flat shooting cartridge, a 270, a 6.5, any of those, if you sight in to hit 300 or 3 inches high at 100, out to 300, you just hold on. Don't worry about how far it is. If you know it's inside of 300, just hold where you want it to hit and pull the trigger. It'll be fine.
And I think we'll talk about tonight. We could go on and on about the technology, but the ballistic drop in the scopes. So you already have your range finding in there, so you know what to hold on.
Right.
But the other thing is, this is one of my things. Please do not use the scope on your firearm to scan the terrain. Yeah. Please use a pair of binoculars, because so many, people's fingers just sometimes cannot stay out of that trigger guard. And so when they're scanning, but this is the other thing too, right? You're out there hunting like that, wide open maybe, but somebody's out there in camouflage and doing the same thing that you are, seeking an animal. And if you're not glassing the area and making sure that no one else is out there behind what your intended target area is, here we go again. With shots being fired.
It's like when hunter safety courses teach you, don't shoot at anything on the skyline.
Right.
Because you don't know what's on the other side back there.
Yeah, exactly. So, please, binoculars, rangefinder, those are all great items for Christmas.
I hadn't thought about that, for a long time, but I guess there are still people who might try to glass things with a rifle scope. For one thing, you're talking about holding up an 8-pound rifle to glass things. That's not very effective. But also, it's just flat out dangerous. You're pointing a gun at everything that you're trying to look at as you scan the world out there.
Right.
Binoculars are light and relatively inexpensive, although you get what you pay for. And the more you spend, the better you get. And it really does make a difference.
Plus, I was just Googling. I can't find a single hunting accident that's happened with a binoculars. Nobody's misfired a pair that's killed somebody.
Amazing. It didn't take you long to research that, I'm hoping.
No. About 20 minutes.
No kidding. One of the guys in camp had the binoculars that have the laser rangefinder built in.
Oh, yeah. Those are cool.
That's slick. It's probably only about $3,500, but what the hey.
See, I'm waiting for the one unit that does it all. Laser rangefinder, binoculars, Bluetooth, ties into the alarm system on the house, can fire up the thermostat.
You just put Picatinny on top of a Picatinny on top of
stack the tanny rails.
Rotate it around.
That's right. And a small set of wheels underneath it.
Gee, I got my AR up to 42 pounds now. This is great.
Yeah, people do that with their ARs. They get, a nice, simple little rifle, and then they keep adding junk to it. And now they really are carrying a 9-pound rifle. It's goofy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Do you remember, Michelle, there was, I think, like a spot tracker or something, shot tracker. It was a scope rifle combo. That thing was like $30,000. But you set it up, and it figured out what the distance was, what the speed was that the thing, whatever it was you're shooting at, was. And then when it appeared in the crosshairs, the rifle shot automatically.
Oh, my, no. I don't remember anything like that.
Talk about a lawsuit waiting to happen there.
It was a military deal. And, he basically just set it up, and when, the guy you're trying to shoot, for snipers, appears, the gun would just go off.
Eesh.
And it's kind of, what could go wrong?
What could go
I was
wrong?
out at the range sighting in my rifle.
So you said that's not available anymore. What could go wrong?
From the people who brought you the self-driving car, the self-shooting rifle.
No doubt.
Oh, man.
Yeah, amazing.
So I'm still waiting until they put RFID chips, high-impact RFID chips in bullets. That way, you get one that runs on you after you hit them. You just pull out your phone, just track that little chip. Oh, there he is. Oh, he's behind that tree there. Guaranteed. $10 says he's behind that tree, Charlie. You can win money from your hunting buddies and stuff.
It's like the old guys that just to joke about. They take these long shots. That's why they always mix in salt, with the bullets. That way it could cure the meat. So they get there.
little teriyaki. Oh, no, that wouldn't work.
That's right.
My
that was
goodness.
teriyaki. I'm going to hurry over and get me some.
That might dampen the powder, but sorry.
Speaking of which, I think it's time for me to go cut up a deer.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I think we have to make one last plea, though, right, for voting and how important that is right now.
Yeah, anybody who's picking this up on Monday or Tuesday after we do this, after that it's all over. And I will tell you, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I know that right now they're saying the Republicans hold the Senate and the Democrats are going to take the House. I'm just not convinced that we don't have another one of these things like 2016 where the conservatives are just still fed up, and probably on the basis of the Kavanaugh hearings are just going, I think they're going to pop out and surprise people. I really do.
I agree.
I hope so, because this is, and people don't think they can make a difference in government. This is when you make a difference in government. I mean, these local and state elections are crucial as to the voice that you want to put out there as far as where does your government go. So it's...
The other thing is, think about this. And while I know it sounds very slanted to say, we've got to vote Republican, oppose Democrats, think about the long term. If you essentially damage or destroy the Democrat Party, it comes back and changes to reflect the views of people.
Right.
If they continue to lose, they're going to moderate or modify their behavior and their positions. If they don't, the party goes away. They just simply lose. And so by trying to defeat them at every turn, you actually get them to change for the better. At least that's my my thought for the day.
Well,
ask me on Tuesday night about 9 o'clock.
And I just think anyone who's into history understands how important it is to, I guess, protect and not only protect but participate in the democratic process, right? I mean,
it's lower D democratic process, yes,
right.
Lowercase.
Yeah.
And just, one final point. Yes, they do really want to take your guns.
Yes.
And finally, they're out of the closet and they say that. They'll say, hey, yes, we're going to ban them and we're going to confiscate them. We're not sure quite how it's going to happen, but that's what our plan is. You go, okay, I got it. I understand where you are. We're going to make sure you never get a chance to.
Yep. And in parting
we'll do that at the ballot box.
And in parting on my end, if you don't vote, don't bitch and moan. You just you have no credibility. I don't like the way this turned out. Yeah.
That's right. You earn the ability to complain if you vote. If you don't vote, STFU.
Basically, yeah.
So there it is. And by the way, watch out for those public ranges.
No doubt.
Yes, please beware. Do your part and be safe.
All right. You guys be safe, and we will, next week, we'll be able to talk about what happened in the election. Hope it's all good news.
Woo-hoo. I hope you get no paper cuts, Tom.
I'm going to get back under the covers. I'm just afraid of everything now.
All right. Take care.
Have a good week, guys. See ya.
Well, that wraps up another Gun Talk After Show. But if you want even more gun-related stuff, don't forget to check out Gundealio. It's the app for Apple and Android phones that connects you to all the Gun Talk shows, plus even more. And we'll catch you next time for the Gun Talk After Show.